When you know how you will be measured, you will know where to improve. You will know which part of the content to pay special attention to and which parts to skim through. In this video, we will build an approach to learning and passing the AI 102 exam. We will then use these insights and this approach to dive a little bit deeper into the content and also make use of our earlier insights from another video about the question types and figure out how to consume the content. Now, at an overall level, it'll help you immensely if you look at the skills and the corresponding weightage that Microsoft gives you in the exam. So as a first step, go through the skills. Look at your own background, your own hands-on experience, if any, and figure out which sections to spend more time on and start building your knowledge base from there. As for me, I was really good at natural language processing in general, and so I paid less attention to natural language processing at the very first pass and focused my attention elsewhere. Now, the next step for you to consume the content is to understand how the course is structured. Now, Microsoft has its own way of structuring the course. There is what's called as a learning path right at the top, and each of the learning paths have modules, and each of the module has units. The units themselves are structured in such a way that the first few units have got the theoretical understanding, followed by an exercise which gives you the hands-on experience, and finally an assessment. So how do you go about consuming this content in the most optimal way? Now, here's what worked for me. Look at what I've done, see what you can take from it, try it out, and make it your own. At a very high level, the approach was to go through the content once, do the practice, look at the responses and the score in that practice exam, and then refresh the content that is needed to pass the exam wherever the score was low, and repeat it until I pass the exam. Now, the way I looked at it was I would sit for one learning path at a time throughout, like one session, one learning path. And as I went through each of the modules and the units, I ensured that I passed the unit assessments before I moved on to the next one. Don't worry, there are not many questions, but the questions are such that they will begin to test your understanding of the modules that you've done. And they will help you to figure out where to go about and get that content from. So go through that in one go through all the units, ensure that you're passing every assessment along the way. Now, as a second step, what I did was give myself some time so that I don't begin to memorize the questions and answers in the practice exam. I just focused on studying the concepts and the theory for about a couple of weeks. And then I came back to the practice tests and I repeated the practice tests a couple of times until I passed. Whenever I did the practice exams that the Microsoft provides, and it's all online, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Microsoft, whenever I did that practice exam, it would give me a few links saying, here's the right answer. Here are the places where you can go learn a bit more about it. Now, sometimes the links were taking me back to the content that I prepared, and some other times it would point to a place where there's documentation. Now, my experience taught me that anywhere you go to a documentation, you will see a bit more of source code than what you would find in the regular content. And the questions in the exam mostly had to do with those type of content that I've seen in the general or the regular documentation. More on that in a different video, but for now, understand that there are two parts to solving the puzzle. One is the theoretical understanding of the concepts, and the other is the source code. So to summarize, go through the entire content structure once, do the exam, look at the places where you haven't scored well, do it again until you passed. Now, at an overall level or a high level, this makes sense. But how do you go through the content? How do you then map the content to the question types, such as definition, comparison, optimization, hot area question, and case study? We'll come to it in the next video. And see you next time. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.